Hello and welcome to the teaching podcast of Epic Church in Independence, Missouri. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Dustin McClellan. Today we have lead pastor Bobby Hawk here to talk about the P in Epic, the participate, a component of our ministry strategy. Listen into the Epic Teaching Podcast today as we continue the Epic conversation. We're here again today with lead pastor Bobby Hawk, and we're continuing to dissect our ministry strategy at Epic Church. And today we're talking about participate, the P in Epic, participate. And one of the key components of that participate is the Epic community. And Bobby, why don't you define for us overall the participate at Epic and maybe go into the Epic community a little bit.
Yeah, participate for us is the next step. Once you've come to the Epic experience, which takes place on the weekends, our goal is that you would connect between Sundays so that it's not just a Sunday morning experience, but instead you start to become more of the part of the community of Epic Church. And so participate is where that takes place. And as you mentioned, Dustin, the Epic community is the connecting point to get to know people on a relational level at Epic Church, which we feel like relationships, that's where discipleship really starts, is in relationship.
And so there are a number of components to the Epic community, a few of them that are going on, like First Wednesdays and Epic events. Talk to us about some of those things that occur.
Yeah. Well, within the Epic community and the participate part of Epic, we have, as you mentioned, First Wednesdays, which are the first Wednesdays of each month. And that's a time of prayer and Bible study, connecting time where we have a chance to really come together as a corporate body and pray for needs. And even it even gives us a chance from time to time to share a little bit more about the vision, have some family talks if we need to have those. Then another thing you mentioned there, Epic events. We try to do something about once a month that the church is invited to as a whole. That's just it's just completely relationally based. And so whether that's a fun activity, on-site, off-site, something that's geared around the season, just something that we try to do that's fun. And some of the highlights so far have been our pool parties coupled with our water baptism events. They've been a great time,
Sure.
A lot of excitement, and so we try to do that. And then there's a couple that you didn't mention yet. One of those is in process, and I know you're helping me develop this, and we're both pretty excited about the new community, which will be taking place on a Wednesday night as well, once a month, and it's basically for people that are new to God or new to church. So it's a way they can kind of get the basics a little bit, get to know the basics about the Bible and about God, and a way that we can connect with them relationally. And then finally, one of them that's it's obviously very, very important to the life of the church would be Epic Life groups. And those we could spend a whole segment talking about life groups,
Sure.
But in a nutshell, those are relational times where people can connect based on their age and stage in life and try to grow together in the relationship with God.
Bobby talked about those four components of the Epic community, and if you have any questions or need more information about those, you can always visit our website at www.epickc.com. Bobby, talk to us a little bit. You know, of course, every church has a weekend service, and they have, usually, most churches have a Wednesday night service and those kinds of things. But talk to us, really, what is your heart when it comes to the Epic community and us as a church building together? What's your heart for us as Epic to grow in that way?
Well, I think it's really stems to relationships. The Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. And so I think that when we connect relationally, whether it's at a First Wednesday that is going to include a Bible study, or whether it's at an Epic event that's not going to include a Bible study, the point is that you get to know people within the church and the body on a relational level when you do more than just attend the weekend experience. That's a great start, and that is the front door. But once you come inside the house, we want to connect on a little bit deeper level. And the great thing is that gives you a chance to connect, even in things like life groups, with people that are maybe the same age in life or same stage in life, whether that's kids the same age and you're facing similar challenges,
Sure.
whether it's you're single and you're a young man and you're connecting with other young men and playing basketball even. It's just a way to connect, and we feel like that's very important because discipleship ultimately flows out of relationships. So that's why we challenge and encourage people participate within the Epic community.
Definitely, definitely. And within that Epic community, at one of our Epic events in the summer of 2009, we were able to baptize 10 people, and that was just an exciting time to see God do some great things. And we're going to talk about water baptism as another component in one of our sessions together. But another component of the participate in Epic is the Epic conversation. And this podcast is really one of the components of that, one of the major components. Bobby, talk to us a little bit about the Epic conversation. As most of our listeners know, we both like to talk quite a bit. That's probably why we're doing this podcast. But talk to us about the Epic conversation.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Dustin. I do like to talk a lot. I guess I think my mother said that when I told her I wanted to be a preacher, I think she said that was a good thing because that was my best gift, was talking. So, but yeah, we do. We want to go participate in the Epic community, but we also want people to participate in the Epic conversation. And really, that's just ongoing dialogue. That's everything from our messages on Sundays that we podcast online to things like this, supplements, if you will, teaching supplements, to even the blog that we have, where many of us on the team have tried to put a little bit of time and effort and offer, whether it's just some insights that we found from Scripture or some supplements to a Sunday message, or even occasionally just some things to try to get to know people in the church a little bit better. We feel like that's a pretty big component on the website, as well as we've even begun to use Twitter. And I don't know if everyone listening is familiar with Twitter, but it's an ability that we have through our cell phones or computers to give short updates. And so we've tried to do that, whether that's using a scripture as a source of encouragement, or even during some of the messages, some
Sure.
people will go back and forth, and it's almost like they have instant dialogue during the sermon. And so there's so many ways that people can participate in the conversation. We're trying to make many venues and many outlets, realizing everybody learns different. Everybody has a different learning style, but we want to offer those ways to learn, because as I mentioned, the Epic community is a little bit more about relationship that leads to discipleship. The Epic conversation is more about maybe the tools that can help people grow in a very practical way.
You used the word tools there in that last statement, and I'm sure many of our listeners are aware of just where the internet and the web is going and connecting people together and beginning conversations in that way. Talk to us a little bit. You know, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got blogs, we've got YouTube, all kinds of things that are just happening in the world. Talk to us about Epic Church specifically and how participating through the community and conversation can even take place at another level, you know, kind of as you talked about, through the web.
Yeah, well, I think the key that we all have to realize, whether we like it or not, really isn't the issue, but everything is going digital, and I think that we can fight it or embrace it, and so we choose to embrace it and kind of toss around the term digital discipleship, and feel like that we want to use the tools that are available through the internet and through other modes of communication to help us and encourage us. And I know that a couple weeks ago when you were speaking a message, Blind Faith, as I was putting some notes on Twitter at the same time, I saw some other notes somebody in the church was putting, and it was really neat. I felt like I was having a dialogue in the middle of a message, and to be honest, I got a lot out of that. So we just want to embrace technology and allow it to help us help each other to grow in the Lord.
Awesome. Bobby, thanks again for joining us today. And that was participate in the Epic strategy there. And for more information, as I've already said, but again, visit blog.epickc.com for our blog and our conversation there. and also www.epickc.com for more information. Thanks for listening in to the Epic Teaching Podcast today. For the latest updates on Epic Church, visit www.epickc.com.